and there is a coolant leak coming from that seal, number 2 and number 3. So once these seals get replaced, no more coolant leak on the car. I've been on this job for 3.5 days and then I shall fit it back. Air is gonna get sucked out of the coolant system. And next thing is gonna be oil filter housing seal, because like I said, we found a coolant leak from there. My finger was probably over the microphone this whole time, so you could hear me like shit. Don't mind my hair. Oh, I was gonna show you what we're replacing, but I need to take the cover off first, so I'll take the cover off and I'll see you in a minute. Cover is off, so let me show you what I am replacing. You see this? Oh my god, you can't see nothing. This thing, yeah, that is called the oil filter housing. And as you can see next to it, you see that metal component, that thing there, that is should be the oil cooler. And this oil cooler works with coolant, because why not? So that means that coolant goes inside of the oil filter housing by itself into that cooler in order to run through the cooler and cool down the oil. However, where the oil coolant goes inside the oil filter housing, there is a seal between the housing itself and the block, and there is a coolant leak coming from that seal. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but I can see it even now. There's a bit of moisture there. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna have the beautiful pleasure of removing this unit and replacing the seal, which is on the floor there. So these are gonna be the pieces we're gonna replace. This is number 1, and this is number 2 and number 3. So once these seals get replaced, no more coolant leak on the car. And I will give you a lot of updates throughout the job to see how it goes. Wish me luck. Step 1, remove wiring out of bracket and make yourself space. Soon bracket will come off. Step 2, remove these 2 auxiliary coolant pumps that are right one on top of each other. This is the top one and there is another one below, and Elsa says to remove them separately, but I think if I just take this coolant pipe off of here and then another coolant pipe off of here and then another coolant pipe off of the bottom, I can take them all together because they're connected by this coolant pipe here, and I think that would make life much easier. So I'm gonna give it a shot to that. But anyway, by the way, these steps are in no English. These steps are in no particular order. They are just the way I am. They're the order I'm going into. So yeah, soon let's see what step 3 is gonna be. Step 3, I think. Was it step 3? I think so. You see, I took the whatever was there out of the way. Now the next thing we have to remove out of the way is this metal bracket, screwed in by 4 screws, 3 at the top and 1 at the bottom. And once that happens, that is step 3 finished. Step 3 finished, bracket out of the way. Disclaimer, I can only count up to 3, so from now on the steps may get a bit mixed up, but as you can see, much more space. That is the bracket there. That's the bracket that holds the auxiliary coolant pumps, one of them here, one of them here. This bracket holds them in place, and then the brackets on a bracket. This brackets. The bracket screws itself here. And now, according to my beautiful instructions, which are never accurate, all I need to do is undo 3 more bolts, and then this whole unit should come off. But you will find out soon if that's actually the case or not, and I will find out soon as well if that's the case or not. But I really hope these instructions are right. Step, I don't know, I forgot. I've been on this job for 3.5 days and I still didn't manage to take it out. I'm only joking. You see it? Because I don't, because it's out of there now. I managed to take it out. Apparently the instructions were right. It was only 3 screws and then it came out quite nicely, but you can see it left a massive mess behind. And the seals are for these holes here. I hope you can see it. I don't know what I actually filmed, but that's where the coolant and the oil comes into the housing itself. You dropped something. And then this is the housing itself. As you can see, absolutely filthy. And if we turn it, this is oil cooler, this is oil cooler. So this contraption inside here has got coolant coming in one way, oil coming in another way, and using the coolant to cool down the oil. And this is the galleries through which coolant and oil come in, and this is where it was leaking coolant. So these seals will be replaced with the seals that I have on the floor, and this will be fitted back, and hopefully it shall not leak anymore. However, before I fit it back, I'm gonna give it a good clean, gonna make it look brand new, and then I shall fit it back, because that's how we roll. So I'll see you in the next part. TT RS auxiliary, what? No. So this thing, what is it called, man? I'm having a blank.
What did he say?
I'm having a blank. Not thermostat housing, what is this called? Oil filter housing. The oil filter housing is back, as you can see. I also put the bracket back, that bracket there, for the auxiliary coolant pumps, which are these. 1 and 2. So now that the bracket is back and all tight and secured, I'm gonna put the auxiliary pumps back, and then I'll give you an update again, hopefully with less brain fog. Part that was incredibly difficult. I did not expect it to be that difficult, but hey, I succeeded finally. So secondary coolant pumps in, one of them here, one of them underneath that you can't see. Put all the pipeage back, all the wireage back, all the screwage back. Now we're gonna take the car up and install that little bracket at the bottom that holds those wires in place, and then fill it up with coolant, and then we're ready for liftoff. So I'll see you in the next update. We're almost finished. So as you can see, wiring is back in place, housing is back in place. I gave this area a little clean because it was a bit filthy, so now it looks a bit better. Now it's time, I'm gonna put the cover back on. I'm gonna drop the vehicle on the floor. Actually, not yet. I'm gonna put the cover back on, I'm gonna put the wheels back on, I'm gonna fill it up with coolant, and then we should go for a road test. Okay, see you in the car. Okay, so wheels are on. Now I connected the bleeding tool that we have to fill the cooling system, and when I'm gonna open this valve here, air is gonna get sucked out of the coolant system, and once I close the valve, obviously there's gonna be left a vacuum behind, and what we care to see is if the car itself holds the vacuum. So let's drain the air out first. So as you can see, I'm creating negative pressure. We're aiming for about -0.9 bar. Once it gets in that area, we can close it, and we want the needle to stay where it is. So if the needle starts dropping, then it's bad news. Would you look at that, guys? Hey, needle is solid. It wasn't like that before. Before, when I would create vacuum pressure, as soon as I would stop it, then the needle would drop back down. So now let's fill it up with coolant, and once it gets filled up, I'm gonna take you on a road test with me. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so getting on the road now with the TT RS. We're just gonna go for a quick round the block. There's 3 things that the customer was complaining about with this car, and I can already tell you one of them has been fixed. Well, 2 of them actually. The third one I can't tell you for sure because we need to get back to see first. But the first thing was a knocking noise when going over speed bumps, and that's why we replaced the drop links. Nice signal. So the first was noise when going over speed bumps, and the noise is not there anymore. It was a horrible knocking noise every time you would go over a speed bump or any sort of unevenness in the road. You could hear like a massive clunking noise. You almost felt like the engine was like dangling against the subframe or something. But that's why we replaced the drop links, and it looks like it doesn't do that noise anymore. Second complaint that the customer had was the clutch pedal. So he was complaining that the clutch was, sometimes the pedal was falling to the floor and it wasn't coming back up, and that's why one of my colleagues done a brake fluid change on the car, and that fixed that issue. And the third complaint he had was about the water leak. So I topped up the level, and now I'm gonna have to get back. This in manual is just beautiful. 70 miles an hour. This in manual is just amazing. 2.5 liter. What a beautiful car, man. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, we're getting the car up to temperature. We're gonna run it, make sure the coolant gets all around the system, and then when that happens, we're gonna go back and check the coolant level, check if there's anything. We're gonna have to go through some width restrictions. It's absolutely amazing car, man. Too bad they don't make them like this anymore. Look, manual, quattro, 2.5 liter, not naturally aspirated, but turbo. Just drives like an absolute dream, man. Such in such a nice body as well. TT RSs, they look so good. They're so small and it just sounds amazing as well. And I'm doing 30 and it sounds absolutely bollocks. Alright guys, that concludes our repair on this TT RS. All the complaints have been rectified. Well, I would hope so. Oh look, traffic lights. Wow, roadworks. Alright, as I was saying, all the complaints have been rectified. I'll go back in and I'll check the coolant level is still okay and there's still no more coolant coming out of that specific place. But I'm pretty confident that was fixed after we've done the vacuum test. The vacuum tests are really good way of showing if there's a leak, and they are instant as well. As soon as you stop sucking the air out of the system, then if the vacuum is not being held, then there's clearly a leak. And like you saw, the needle was staying solid, so I'm confident there is no leak. Now we can give the customer the good news, the car is actually fixed, and then he can come and collect his pride and joy, and hopefully not bring it back to us for a long time. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.